Momentous Buildings family, what's going on? This is Patrick Robertson here. Today we got a special treat. We're going to be talking again about buying your first home, and we recommend having in reserves when you make that purchase. Okay, so let's dive right in. When you buy your first home, you're going to have all these recommendations, and you look at the money in your bank account, you look at the loan value, you look at your monthly expenses, and then you make this calculation. Okay, I got 20 grand for the down deposit, closing costs, XYZ. I can afford it all. But the question then comes up, what do you have after? What do you have after you put that the deposit down? You know, maybe you have to paint a room or two. You got 5 grand to move your furniture, all those good things, right? How much money should you have in your bank account after? Because as we should know, your home's always going to have an expense. There's always going to be something going on in your home that is deteriorating. It's the nature of a home. Sadly, guys, you bought something that is decaying each and every day that goes by. However, we have to make sure that we have money in reserves, so that way when that big purchase comes up, it doesn't have to be financed. It doesn't have to be put on a credit card. You guys can pay for it cash. You don't have to spend more money on interest and all these other terms and rates to cover that. Or you don't have to sweat that your roof might fail any single day, and you don't have the money to put in to fix it. So how much money should you have in your bank account? Well, we're going to go through this, right? A lot of this information is common knowledge for real estate investors. And that's where we're really going with Momentous Building. As we dive into our investment projects, we are going to be looking at some of these areas where we keep in reserves. Now, typically, we're going to keep 6 months of expenses in reserves when you buy that new home. That's really recommended. Now, from a personal finance perspective, you can look at your overall personal expenses and keep that 6 months in there, right? So that might be, if it's 5 grand, that might be $30,000 in expenses. So keep that in your bank account when you go buy your home, because here's the thing. Here's what we recommend. If your home is 15 years old and less, 6 months is definitely going to be good. If it's older and it's been renovated, then you're good with that 6 months. However, once you start getting into homes that are 20, 25, and 30 years old, there haven't been any major renovations, you know, the kitchen, the roof hasn't been replaced, any of these different things, we start to run into areas where we really need to keep 8 months, maybe even a year of expenses in our bank account, just kind of sitting there for the emergency. Because your boiler might go bad after 15 years or 10 years, your hot water heater, 10 or 15 years, your well system, 10, 15 years. These different things, your roof, 20 to 30 years, depending on where you guys are living. So these different items that are $10,000 here, $10,000 there, and you don't want to get hit twice in the same year, 10,000 here, 10,000 there, and you don't have the money and now you have to finance it. And then it becomes an emergency, right? And the thing is, when your roof fails, most of the time you find it's not just your roof. It's not just a 10 to 20 to 25, maybe even $50,000 for your roof that you need to repair. You're going to have to repair the drywall inside your house. Maybe it's the insulation that has mold on it now because it's been leaking for a year. That's why we highly recommend always keeping that money in the bank account. And our previous video actually just came out and talked about how much you should be saving every single month and actually adding to this bank account to make sure that you guys are allocating for future expenses. Because here's the thing, when you replace your roof after that 25-year mark, you're going to need another roof in 25 years. So we must rebalance out that bank account, keep putting money into it for the capital expenditures and repairs that are going to come up. Now, I know a lot of you are thinking, oh my gosh, that's a lot of money. I don't have that right now. That's okay. I don't want to steer anyone away from buying their first home and thinking that they can't jump right into it. And that's why we should always be saving, keeping the repair savings in there and the capital expenditures in there, 10%, 10% for repairs, and allocating towards that. And if you can only have 3 months of emergency funds for your house, then we highly recommend maybe adding 15% to your capital expenditures, maybe adding 15% to your repairs until you get that bank account open up even more. Now let's flip this over and look at it from a personal finance perspective to really make sure we're organized in our bank accounts. Most banks, if not all, will actually allow you to open up multiple checkings or savings accounts. This is going to allow you to have the money in a different location than your primary checking account to make sure that it's always there. That's the I'm not going to touch it fund because it's my, oh, I got a problem on my house, right? That's what that's going to be used for. And then you can also set up automatic transfers so that way when your check gets deposited, it automatically allocates $200 or $500, whatever the percentage of your check is, to that actual bank account. And that way it's completely hands off. It is taken off your mind and is done for you. Because I'm going to guarantee if you let this be done by yourself manually, there's going to be times you're like, well, it's my spouse's birthday. My children we're going to go to this show and that's their present, right? We don't want to get into that mindset. We want to live off what we have left over and keep our savings and investments first, because those are going to be the things that help us out in the long term. So guys, I really hope you guys enjoyed this. Always keep this in mind in buying your first home. There's definitely some tips and tricks going into this. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments below. We can expand on this if you have anything, or I can answer these questions directly. We can hop on a phone call, get going. Guys, please give us a like, share, and subscribe as we grow this channel. It is really growing here. Gonna blow up. Take care. I'll see you in the next one.